Hello, everyone. We're going to start in about 30 seconds if you want to try to find a seat if there are any left. All right, I want to thank everyone for coming to meet the candidates night hosted by the Poestenkill Business Association. The first thing I'd like to do is say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight's event is going to be hosted by Jim Tusty, and I'm going to hand it over from here.
Thank you, Steve. First of all, highly impressed and proud how many people showed up. Proud to be part of a community that cares about its politics, and I very much thank all the candidates for coming here to share your thoughts with us. And the only introduction I'll give to myself is I'm a registered independent, and I'm a strong believer in civil discourse. And it may not be possible in Washington, D.C., but I gotta believe it's possible in Poestenkill, New York. So I would ask that we all welcome these candidates who are giving up their evening to share their thoughts with us, and welcome them even if you severely disagree with what they're saying. That's okay. Lastly, we are kicked out of here at 8:30. I have more questions than I'm afraid I can get to. That's one of the penalties of having so many people in the crowd. I'll do my best, but I may not be able to get to every single question. That being said, we're going to start with 90-second introductions. And I'll just ask you to go down the table to please share who you are, what office you're running for, and what your background is. I don't know if everyone can see this. In order to keep us on time, I have the sign that says 20 seconds left. And I'm going to be fairly stringent on keeping us to 90 seconds just because we have so many candidates who are nice enough to come, and we have so many questions from the audience that we'd like to cover. So with that being said, if we can just go down the line and introduce yourselves, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tiffany Silverman, and I am running for the Office of Rensselaer County Executive. Thank you very much for having all of us here this evening. A little bit about me. I've spent 30 years in the private and public sector of law. I have some great people that I've worked alongside with. In those years, I have a vast knowledge of constituent services, especially in the nonprofit sector. My goal here for me is to bring civility back to the county. That is a goal, that's a top priority. I'm also aiming for a 30, 60, 90, 30 days for a complete audit of services, and 60 days to reveal, in 90 days that we will have a town hall meeting. I'm looking forward to working closely with all of you. A little bit more about me is that I was a Republican until fairly recently, and I've helped to elect many Republicans who are currently in office. I'm very proud of the work that I've done, and I'm proud of the road that I've taken to get me here tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tiffany. I'm Mary Frances Sabo, and thank you to the Poestenkill Business Association and Mr. Tusty and all of you for coming out on this blustery evening. Again, Mary Frances Sabo. I am running for Rensselaer County Legislative District 2, which is North Greenbush, East Greenbush, and this town of Poestenkill. I am currently serving my second term on the town of North Greenbush Town Board, where I'm known for very strong constituent services, fiscal responsibility, and transparency. I write a monthly North Greenbush report where I attempt to let residents know what's going on in town. I publish the agendas of municipal meetings, and I attend a lot of community events. In my professional life, I was an attorney for the state of New York. I worked for the Department of Financial Services, expanding health insurance coverage, and also the Department of Transportation, where I worked on planning and municipal issues. In my personal life, I again live in North Greenbush. I am married. I am the mother of 3 adult children. I served as a library trustee on the board of the Commission of Economic Opportunity. and also on an advisory task force that attempted to reduce traffic fatalities and serious injuries in transportation. If elected to the legislature, I pledge to provide excellent constituent services to everyone and also pledge to be transparent and fiscally responsible. Thank you.
So I'm going to stand up and talk. I always tell we're supposed to do that. So my name's Bob Crowley. I've lived here in Poestenkill for 40 years. I'm I retired from New York State Division of Homeland Security about 10 years ago. I can't believe it's actually been that long, but it has. I've been in this room many times, only on that side of the dais. So this time I get to talk from the other perspective here. I have 3 adult children who still live in the area. I have a 101-year-old mother who you're going to hear about in a minute too. So people ask why I'm running, and I tell them I have three. Hear you without.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Okay. We have 3 planks in my platform. I'm going to take Mr. Tusty and challenge him here. My first plank is that Donald Trump is destroying everything that this country stands for. Civility. He's destroying our economy with the tariffs, challenging the rule of law with his Department of Justice. Today he pardoned, so these things I see as a real problem in our country. The second plank is that the Republicans in the Russell County Legislature evidently endorse these kind of policies. I spoke to them, commenting. There was a lot of people come and comment. I was there last Wednesday. I made a comment about.
With apologies, a few more seconds, please. You're at the 90 seconds. I'm so sorry.
I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, then.
No, bring it to a close. Go ahead.
Okay. The thing I spoke to the legislature about was the custody coming in Medicaid. I have a 101-year-old mother who came to this with me in Poestenkill, came to this room many times with the seniors. I can't abide that the money that she paid for years and years into her Medicare account may be taken from her. I think that's a real travesty, and I hope to do something about that in our legislature if we're elected.
And one favor to ask. I so appreciate applauding for everybody. I also have a time issue. I wanted to get through it, so I'd ask everyone to save their applause for the end of the night. Thank you. I should have said that before.
Let's see, is this working? Yes. I'm Jamie Matzdorf. I'm running for Rensselaer County Legislature from District 2, the towns of Poestenkill, North Greenbush, and East Greenbush. I've lived in North Greenbush for 38 years, raised my daughter there, and was a small business owner in East Greenbush. So I paid taxes in North Greenbush for my home, and I paid taxes in East Greenbush for my business. So I'm very aware of the tax structure of the county and am all too familiar with having to pay increasing taxes, despite what you may hear tonight. The fact is my taxes have kept going up. I don't know about yours, but mine continue to go up, both for my business and for my home. I retired a year and a half ago from Grapes and Grains, Wine and Spirits in the Walmart Plaza on Route 4 in East Greenbush, and I worked there for 24 years. I believe in talking to each other. The reason I'm running is because civility in the electoral process and in the legislative process has been lost. And there's a lot of macho going on and a lot of things getting in the way of doing the bidding for the people, which is what we're elected to do. I believe in listening to our neighbors. I believe in democracy begins right here at home, and we need to lower the volume and start listening to people. Compromise is a good thing. And if I'm elected, I will be working to bring people together and to find common ground rather than continuing to fight each other over every last little bit.
Thank you.
Good evening. I prepared a little speech. Hope you don't mind. I'm Andrew Tyler Batista, and I'm running for town council because I want to serve this community. I'm a small business owner and a homeowner here in town. Every day, I help seniors and small businesses solve problems and navigate challenges. I know what accountability looks like. When you run a business, you either deliver results or you don't. I'm running because I want to bring that same commitment to town council. I want to show up, do the work, and serve the community honestly and effectively. Poestenkill has good people working hard for this town, but we need more voices at the table who are focused on results, transparency, and serving all residents, not just some. I'm not a politician. I'm a problem solver, and I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and get to work for this community. I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Good evening. I'm Greg Patnaud, and I am running for town council. I've been part of the Poestenkill community since 1991. In the fall of 1990, my future wife and I took a ride one weekend, came out Route 43 and saw an open house sign, and it led us to the lot where we would build a home and raise our family. I coached in the Able Park Youth Soccer League for 11 years and coached in the Classy Lassies Girls Softball League, serving as its president for 3 years, even after my daughter moved on to lacrosse. I graduated from Union College with a degree in electrical engineering and worked for 34 plus years with the New York State Department of Public Service in the field of telecommunication regulation. I've had the pleasure of working on 2 Town of Poestenkill comprehensive plan committees, one of only 2 people to do so. I think the other person is actually in the room tonight. The plan was adopted in 2006, and the updated one, which is now before the town board. I was a founding member of Concerned Citizens for Clean Drinking Water, the ad hoc group of neighbors near their middle school who were alarmed when PFOA was found there in 2021. We worked with the town, county, and state officials to advocate for water testing and sharing factual information to the public as the investigation progressed. Since 2024, I've been on the town's Conservation Advisory Council and serve as its chair. If elected, here's what I would like to see. Improve communication between town government and its citizens, which includes knowing how your tax dollars are being spent. Funding our newly acquired ambulance service and for years to come.
10 seconds, please.
10 seconds, okay. Keeping our open spaces and scenic beauty unharmed, encouraging modest business development, especially focused in the hamlet, and perhaps most importantly, maintaining civility at the town board meetings. I look forward to your questions tonight. Thank you.
Greg, thank you. Good evening. Good evening. My name is Tom Russell. I'm the current town supervisor. I've had the privilege of being supervisor for 2 years, and it's been a wonderful experience servicing the whole town, not just sections, but the whole town. What I've tried to do, and I believe the town board is going along with it, is restore some mutual respect and civility at the town board meetings and also in town hall. That's what we try and do. Service is first and foremost in my book. I'm a small business owner also. Durable medical equipment. I use my own equipment quite a bit, as you can see, but service is where we come from. Listening to people is very important. I don't have all the ideas, and I would try and listen in earnest to what people have to say. It makes the world go round. And as Greg has mentioned, we have the ambulance service back in town, which is great. Cooperation with the fire company is very important. I've strived to improve communication with the fire company because I think it's very important. Also with the library. These service organizations play an important role in town, and I think they deserve respect and the right to say what they have to. I thank you very much, one and all, for coming out tonight, as has been said by others, but it is important that you're here participating. Thank you very much, Jim. And I'll turn the microphone over to Mr. McLaughlin.
You want the other 20? Thank you, Tom. Jim, thank you for emceeing this in the Poestenkill Business Association. Appreciate that. This is probably my 6th or 7th time doing these, and they're always interesting and fun. And thank you to all of you for coming with your questions. I'm Steve McLaughlin, Rensselaer County Executive. finishing up my second term after 7 years in the state assembly, and certainly here to answer any questions that you have, but also to explain all the accomplishments of my administration, which are many and vast and pretty historic, including today the announcement of another 9.1% property tax reduction. I'll be happy to explain how property taxes work and tax bills work for sure. But there's no doubt now that Rensselaer County property taxes, the tax rate has dropped 49% on my watch in 8 years. That is a historic achievement. You are now going to pay what you paid in 1990. There's nothing else that you pay the same rate you did in 1990. Assessments are a whole different issue. Those are town issues. School taxes continue to rise. Library taxes continue to rise. Fire taxes continue to rise. But what doesn't rise is the county property tax rate. We've also now, just nearing the end of my 8th year, fulfilling a promise that I made to pave every mile of county road. By the end of this month, when the paving season wraps up, we will have paved every single mile of county road. That's 330 miles without raising your taxes. There's much more to talk about, but we're under the clock here, so I'll turn it over. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michelle Garfolo, and I am a mother, and I am a wife, and I am currently on your Averill Park Education Foundation trustee and your Averill Park Board of Education member. I own my own business, doing promotional advertising, helping businesses solve problems with just fast things. So I am running for Poestenkill Town Supervisor and looking forward to this evening and everyone getting to know us a little bit better.
Name's David Goyer. I am the current highway superintendent for the town of Poestenkill. I'm in my 5th year as highway superintendent. I've been working for the town since 2017, and I'm just extremely grateful for the support that the residents have given me these past few years and the support we're going to get in the future. I take the responsibility very seriously, and I take a lot of pride in the work we do at the highway department. And I look forward to answering any questions tonight that anybody might have.
Hi, my name is David Haas. I've been on town council for 11 years, and my chief focus has always been on managing the finances of the town and trying to keep our costs down, keep our taxes down, stop wasteful spending of money through projects that could have happened if I didn't stop them. Also increasing personal freedom, like getting the law passed that enables people to have chickens without having to go to 3 or 4 months of planning board meetings. I also got a 90% reduction in the rent that the library pays to town hall. It used to be $10 a year. Now it's $1 a year. And I worked very hard to try to help manage the finances of town by getting our investments of our extra cash into treasury bills and in 2 years ago, returned over $100,000, which went towards preventing us from having to increase taxes. Those have been my main focuses on the town board. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening. My name is Rodney Rescott. I am running for Poestenkill Council. And a little bit about me is I have been native to the Poestenkill area here, living in the town for 20 plus years. And prior to that, I lived right next door in West Sand Lake. So living in small town America is what I did. It's what I believe in, and it's why I stayed here. Raised my kids here. Been married to my wife for 20 plus years as well. My kids have went through Averill Park. They all loved it. They went to Hudson Valley. They all have their degrees, and they're still here in this area because of this. Small town America, living here, doing what small towns do, which is let me do my thing. You stay out of my business, and let the towns do what they need to do, which is very simple. You know, you wake up in the morning in a snowstorm, the snowplow comes and it plows your road. You have nothing to complain about. At that point, you get out, you get your car, and you drive to work. If you're like me, I get to work from home, so I don't have to worry about that. So that is my spiel today. It's very simple. Small town life. Let's keep it small. Let's keep Poestenkill. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate you putting this together and working with everybody. Welcome. Thank you all for coming out. I'm Tom Grant. I'm a member of the Rensselaer County Legislature. I'm running for re-election to represent the towns of East Greenbush, North Greenbush, and Poestenkill. I'm from East Greenbush. Was formerly on the town board. Been married for 39 years. We have 2 adult sons. I am looking forward to voting for the 8th consecutive time on the Rensselaer County tax cuts. That's one of my most proudest achievements, I think, in the legislature. When other taxes are going up, libraries, school taxes, Rensselaer County has not just been flat, it's been decreased for the last 7 years. Look forward to the 8th year of that. I have experience in budgeting. I worked in the state legislature. I have experience in research projects and other specific tasks that relate to legislation and relate to the delivery of services. Look forward to having a conversation with you later on tonight. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rob Bailey, a lifelong resident of Poestenkill, moved here 71 years ago. My dad grew up in town. My grandparents lived in town. I worked on the planning board for 10 years in Poestenkill. Then I was on the town board for 8 years. Never raised the taxes the full 8 years that I was on the town board. Then I moved on to the legislature, and we've reduced taxes as a legislature for the past 8 years. So I look forward to answering any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for having all of us. My name is Kelly Hoffman. I am your county legislator. A little bit of background about myself. I'm a regional director of real estate and leasing for a major healthcare company in the area, overseeing a multi-million-dollar budget every year. I also am deputy town supervisor for the town of North Greenbush. I have served as a zoning board member, a school board member in my town, so I feel like I worked my way down, from the bottom up, learning as much as I could about local government. I'm a lifelong resident of Rensselaer County. I live in North Greenbush with my husband, Tom, who is a retired police detective sergeant. And I have 2 grown children, my son, Raymond, who's here tonight, and my daughter, Hannah, who is actually getting married this weekend. So throw an election on top of a wedding, and I'm a little stressed out. So I appreciate everybody being here. I would like to say that, one of the candidates mentioned that a lot of, quote, macho has been going on at the county level. And I have to say, I respectfully disagree with you. I was elected chairwoman to the Rensselaer County Legislature by my peers in 2022. I am the first female conservative chairwoman of the legislature in an all-male caucus. So I just want to, kind of dispel that rumor, because I don't really feel that's an accurate depiction of the county. So appreciate having the conversation tonight. Thank you.
So, Susan Horton, town clerk, was not able to be here today, and Steve has a comment.
Normally wouldn't allow this, but she did fall down the stairs and break all the bones in her foot, so I'm making an exception. My name is Sue Horton, and I've had the honor of serving as your town clerk since being elected in 2009. With nearly 16 years in this role, I truly enjoy serving my residents of Poestenkill. As town clerk, I wear many hats, and no 2 days are the same. While the office can be a little chaotic at times, I am very fortunate to work with my dedicated deputy town clerk, Lindsay Goyer. Together, we ensure that everything gets done. Poestenkill has been my home for over 40 years. My husband Wayne and I raised our 4 wonderful children here, and we're now blessed with 8 amazing grandchildren. This town means the world to me, and it's my privilege and honor to serve the people of Poestenkill. Thank you for your support.
Okay, so the questions from the audience. I'm going to start with a softball question, because there are some hard ones in here. But my softball question is for Dave Goyer. Our highway department is exceptional. What resources do you need to keep up the good work?
A full staff. We've been struggling with keeping a full crew of 6 for a few years now, so I would say the biggest thing we could use is consistency in a full-time crew.
Thank you. Question for the 2 town supervisor candidates. Supervisor, you're responsible for being chief financial officer. What are your qualifications to hold this position, given some of the challenges our town has had with finances over the past?
So I actually have an accounting degree from the university, or I'm sorry, from Florida Southern College. I did study at the University of South Florida as well in their accounting program for a few years. So I also have business management and business administration degree as well. I run my own company, which has over 200% growth each year. So I hold people accountable. I call them to the table, and I actually review all the finances and make sure that we are making money.
Good evening. Okay, small business, history in small business, history and graduated from RPI management, and have had experience working within my own companies, doing different projects in order to keep them profitable and keep them growing, and emphasis on sales and returns. I take daily, I look over the town finances and keep track of coming in, coming out, and making sure that everything is reported properly. Right now, we have over 2 million in treasury bills that are on 30 or 60-day rotations, trying to gain maximum interest to assist the town. Right now, between the basic savings accounts for the general and for the T-bills, we've brought in close to $97,000 or $96,000 this year. Thank you.
Okay, next question is for all of the Poestenkill Town Council candidates and supervisor candidates. What do you think are the strongest assets of the town, and what can be improved?
Okay, if you don't mind, I prefer to stand. Okay, hope you can hear me okay across the room. Best assets of the town, hands down, are the employees. First and foremost, Sue, Lindsay, DJ, Michelle, Diane, and all the crew at the highway department, Keith Hankel downstairs, and the justices. That's the main. If it wasn't for those people, town wouldn't function properly. They do a heck of a job, and I'm very fortunate to be able to work with them. We have great people throughout the town, down here in the flats, up in the hill. People take time to give input, which is so important because no one has a solid idea on everything. People come and talk, and I listen, and that's how we try and develop. But those are the important things, I think, in regard to the town. It's the personnel who make it. Very much so.
I would actually agree with him that I think the best asset of the town is the people of the town. That's what makes this town so lovely. We are actually transplants to the town, and one of the things we fell in love with about the town is the rural identity of it. The people that you just go out and meet, they're all very warm and welcoming, and always will lend a hand. And I think that's very rare. So I absolutely agree with our best asset is the people. I think our challenge and what we need to fix are the financials and the transparency. We need to balance the books, and we need to get them corrected, reconciled. They are a bit behind schedule, if anybody has known that. And also, the water district is pretty important to a lot of people as well. And I think we need to kick that off and get it going and get it completed and on the right track. So project managing would be crucial to changing and developing our town.
I think the strongest asset of this town is the people who are willing to give time to help other people. I remember one time I was campaigning with June, and there's a driveway that had a huge hole in it that her car would have fit into. And a few days later, Scott Polaro just voluntarily brought a dump truck up there and his bulldozer, and he fixed it and never charged anybody any money. After the Hurricane Irene, Harold Van Slyke, who was the president of the Business Association, and myself, I'm the treasurer, been treasurer for a long time, went door to door, up and down the mountain to people who were had damage from the flood, writing $500 checks. We ran out of money. We held a roast beef dinner, raised another $25,000, and went back out and gave more people more money, because that's what the Business Association primarily does, is give people money in times of emergency need. And that's the spirit that is just absolutely incredible about this town. That's what I love about it.
The people of Poestenkill are exceptional by all means, but I think its biggest assets is the land, is the area, is rural Rensselaer County. You have forests to flats to waterfalls to farms to all of these things that are available to everyone. The people make it run, but you can't make it run if you don't know the town itself. So from the top of the mountain down to here, there's so much to do, to see, to be a part of, that it's what attracts people to this area. It's what attracts people to come and visit. It attracts people to come and want to stay and live, much like our a supervisor who is looking to be elected. This town has a lot to offer, and it's in conjunction with all the people that are running it and keeping it going and making it the best town that there is around here. Thank you.
I think we have bipartisan agreement that the people in this town are the greatest asset in Poestenkill. I don't think that can be disputed. And I agree, the land, the scenic beauty, the open spaces that we have in Poestenkill are an incredible asset. People go up to the community forest, Barberville Falls, go up to Pine Ridge in the winter to ski, assuming we have snow. There's a lot that Poestenkill has. The farm stands now have popped up all over the place in Poestenkill. That's amazing. If you drive around, certainly campaigning, I've seen so many farm stands that people are able to sell their wares on the side of the road. And that's one of the reasons I think that Poestenkill needs to embrace tourism, just to acknowledge it and have people from other areas stop at all these places and spend their money in town. But one of the greatest assets that actually no one else had mentioned, and I will, and that is the town library. And just for the sake of openness, my wife is a trustee on the library, but it's something that other libraries are jealous of. The programs that the library puts on attracts a lot of people to the point where they have to turn people away because there's no space for it. And yet the Poestenkill Library is only on a per capita basis is 23rd out of 29 libraries in the Upper Hudson library system. And I think it's basically $20 per capita. So those are, I think, the biggest assets, at least that I would say that Poestenkill has.
I think, in my opinion, the strongest asset would be, I guess, like a lot of other people said, the natural beauty of the town. I grew up in Queens, so I grew up looking at concrete, being able to look up outside of my home and seeing the stars is not something I got to do as a kid. It gives you perspective, but I really like that, and I want to make sure that the natural beauty of this town is protected.
Okay, thank you. I know a few questions for Stephen and Tiffany, and you can answer them in either order. How do you think the cuts from the Big Beautiful Bill will affect county residents, and what steps will you take to protect our residents and prioritize the people who live and work in our communities?
Sure. Okay. So one thing that I will capitalize on is having the strong connection and the strong relationship with the governor. That's something that we really need to hone in on. That's something that we really need to take advantage of, is reaching across the aisle and not only working with one another, but we also need to work with the governor. She is going to help us. She's going to help backfill the gaps. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. So we need to have that bridge. We need to have that open communication. We need to have those relationships. We need to be able to maturely facilitate those relationships so that we can get the job done for the people of Rensselaer County. It's not about me. It's not about us, it's about all of you. And the focus needs to shift. And as soon as we focus back on the people, we'll get a lot more accomplished.
A lot of words, but no real answer to that question. But I'm sure Governor Stefanik will be happy to work with us in 27. It's interesting, though, you talk about a relationship with the governor when you appeared in Hoosick Falls with her primary opponent, Antonio Delgado. So that's going to be a tough road to hoe. As far as the big, beautiful bill, don't be naive and think that the state is going to backfill the counties. The state has a history, and it continues to this day, of forcing things onto the counties. It's what they do. It's what they've always done. It's what I fought against when I was in the assembly. It's what I talked about today during my budget presentation. The state will not cut their spending, which is the biggest problem we face. What the state should do is address the fact that the big, beautiful bill realigns things, much less so than what happened in the 90s, by the way, and it puts people back to work who have to go back to work. It's enough of the freebies, enough of the giveaways, enough of taking care of illegal aliens so we don't take care of our own people. But it's naive to think that the state is not going to jam that right down the throats of this county, because it's what they do to us and to every single other county out there. Unfunded mandates right now eat up $185 million of the county budget. You can expect that to grow exponentially in 27 if, in fact, the state doesn't do its job, and it will not do its job with Kathy Hochul there, to address what is going on in Washington. There is no reason that New York pays not only every federally required Medicaid or special interest bill, we pay them all 100%, as we should, 100% of what's required. New York goes further than that and pays the enormous amount more of 10%. So it's this plus all the options. That's got to stop. It's running us right over the cliff. So as far as being able to backfill the federal government, there's no county in the country that can afford to do that.
Steve, another question for you. Yeah. Steve, someone in the audience has heard of a 9.1% tax reduction. A, is that true? And if that is true, how will that be accomplished?
Well, I think more than one person has heard of a 9.1% tax reduction if you watch my budget presentation today, which a majority of the people in this room did. 9.1% is absolutely true. It just follows along with the 8% or so that I did last year, the 10% that I did before that. Since I took office, this is now my 8th budget. We've cut taxes every single year. When I took office, the county property tax rate that you all paid was $5.82 per thousand. That was outrageous. We set about to fix it, and we have. You are now, once this budget is passed with the help of our legislators, you will be paying $3.23 per thousand. That is a 49% reduction in the property tax rate. It's undebatable. It's undeniable. It's a fact. I know some people don't like facts, but that is an absolute fact that we have cut the property tax rate. I cannot do anything about your school taxes, which spiral out of control, or your fire, or your library, or anything else. What I can control is the county property tax rate, and that's what we've done. On top of that, our sales taxes jumped from $89 million when I took office for the year. It is now routinely over $125 million. That, folks, is what has allowed us to cut your property tax rate. Without that sales tax, and thank you all for spending your money here in the county, that allows us to grow that pot of money, because it's coming from two places: property or sales. Much better that comes from sales tax. It means you're enjoying your life. Businesses are doing business. That allows us to cut those taxes, pave those roads, build 4 brand new senior centers, reopen the Knickerbocker ice rink, build an emergency services training center, do all the things that my administration has accomplished. So the 9.1 is very real. As soon as the legislators agree to pass the budget, which we've passed many unanimous budgets in Rensselaer County. In fact, the 7 previous budgets that I've done, I think, have a total of 3 or 4 no votes. That's it. So it's real.
Get my mic on. There's been discussion of a 9.1% tax reduction. How will that be accomplished? And Steve, gave his thoughts as to how that would be accomplished. I didn't know if he wanted to respond in any way. Maybe you don't.
So I have not had the opportunity to look over the budget. To me, the math isn't mathing. And so in terms of having 9.1% in tax cuts, I agree with everyone in this room and everyone that I've spoken to and every door that I've knocked on. The taxes are going up. And he can sit there and he can shrug and he can say whatever he wants to say and he can make cute little jokes about, me being with the lieutenant governor, the current sitting lieutenant governor, and that's fine. But sir, in all due respect, I wouldn't even be standing here right now if I didn't see you with Dan McCoy having dinner on December 30th.
What's that got to do with anything? I'll be happy to rebut that.
Because you don't want the job. You do not want the job. How many jobs have you already applied for?
Send it on down. Are you even employed? Send it on down. Well, this is going to be so much fun. The math is a math thing. She just said she hasn't looked at the budget. She just said she has not looked at our budget. How big is our budget, Ms. Silverman? How big, Mrs. Silverman, is the county budget? You said you're a fiscal expert. How big's the budget? Blank. No answer. Not a surprise. You're not a fiscal expert. As far as the math isn't mathing and taxes going up, I just explained school and fire and library and all of the other assorted taxes. But you can't seem to do simple math and find out the fact that our tax rate has undeniably gone down from $5.28 to now it's going to be $3.23. That maths. As far as my friend Dan McCoy, what in the hell does it have to do with anything that I had dinner with a friend of mine on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve? What does that matter? I thought we were talking about civility. I thought we were supposed to reach across the aisle. Dan and I work together all the time. As a matter of fact, all the time. And as you say, I'm running scared, by the way. I was on vacation with Dan last week in Ireland. That's how afraid I am of you. Now, second of all, why can I not? I'd love to answer that one. I can't have dinner with a friend of mine? Really? That's outrageous.
Thank you.
How dare you?
And Tiffany, do you want 30 seconds to respond, or are you set?
So I'm going to be the bigger person, and I'm going to let you move on to the next question.
Okay. Environmental agenda. In what way will you encourage the legislature to act on an environment?
Okay, an environmental agenda, I'm not sure what was meant by that, but the legislature could do many things in that area. There are trail networks that someone mentioned Poestenkill Community Forest here. There are trail networks that could be developed. There are waterfront areas that could be developed. There are parks that could be coordinated. There are bike paths that could be worked on. We have all these things in the county, but as far as I know, there is no countywide coordination of these kind of assets. I'm on the board of the Hudson Taconic Lands, which owns the Barboursville Falls, has kept that open for people in this town. It's a beautiful spot. But these things are done in an ad hoc way. There's no coordination of them. So I don't see why it wouldn't be a perfectly suitable task for the county legislature to conform a task force or convene a task force to coordinate these things. Similar ideas have been talked about coordinating ambulance services in the county, or coordinating animal control, things like that in the county. So we've talked about those things. No action has been taken that I know of, but I'm new to this game. But certainly in terms of coordinating our natural resources, our natural areas, hiking, biking, the Hudson River, all these things could be a legitimate county initiative, but I haven't ever seen anything like that happen. So does that answer the question?
Okay, let's move on to the next one here. This is for all the current Poestenkill town members. There's been a lot of finger pointing regarding the town finances. The current challenge is of the product of the former administration, but 3/4 of the current board were seated then. Can you explain how the financial issues came up under your supervision? And that's for anyone who is serving on the council now and is running again. Sure. I'm just reading what it is here. There has been a lot of finger pointing regarding town finances. The current challenges are the product of the former administration. 3/4 of the current board were seated then. 3/4 of those who are running, I think is what the person meant to say, were seated then. How can you explain the financial challenges when you were on the board?
First of all, the responsibility of the town's finances is the town supervisor. He is technically, according to New York State town law, the chief financial officer of the town. Town board members have a audit committee where we review the bills before the meeting, and if the bills look okay, we initialize it. But the responsibility for putting the whole packet of bills together is all in the town supervisor's office. There were some issues with prior administrations where the supervisor had employees who kept things secret from the town board and we didn't know what was going on. As a matter of fact, some of the deposits to the federal government for withholding of income taxes were not made. And whenever a notice would go to the office, this person would shred the notices. So nobody knew that that was not done. We finally corrected a lot of this stuff in the beginning of Tom's administration. But if you go back and look at YouTube videos that show our town board meetings for the last 2 years, you'll see that the town board members are constantly trying to get answers to why the bookkeeping hasn't been fixed. Now, this might be before most of our time, including me, but the Empire State Building was built in 1 year. It seems to me that they should be able to fix the town's bookkeeping, fix the town's bookkeeping system in less time than it took to build the Empire State Building. So far, it is not fixed. One of our town board members actually reached out to and they are now, in fact, doing our bookkeeping. It shouldn't be the case. We should have a qualified employee do that, but we don't. Thank you.
All right. As far as finger pointing goes, I'm not for that. It happens, but it's not. People have something to say, they can come and say it to us face to face. As far as what David mentioned about the previous situation, the 2021 third quarter, fourth quarter taxes weren't submitted. We did correct that beginning of 2020. Took all of 2024 into 2025 to get that situation corrected, going back and forth with the IRS on multiple occasions. Eventually, they did agree that we had squared away with them, and it required extra funds being put out, but they were all paid, and the IRS is now squared away. As far as the accounting goes, we had an accountant when I first came on board. That was not working. We went out without one for a little bit. We have 2 firms working for us now, working on trying to get things squared away. We are processing forward on that.
Can you hear me better without the microphone? Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, excuse me. And up here, is this microphone working properly? Yes. Thank you very much.
So I have a question of my own. I'm going to address it to everybody. fleets be converted to full electric by 2035. Next year, all new houses built must use only electricity for hot water heating and cooking. In our divided nation, some feel this is a wonderful green advancement, while others feel this will add undue costs to our public fleets and will bring stringent restrictions on our ability to build our own homes as we see fit. Please share your thoughts on these mandates.
So I'm just going to say, as a mom, my son, I disagree with everything. I know the burden that that's going to put on us, and I strongly.
But you want to work with local.
Oh, fair enough. I think it is fair that we don't come back with questions from the audience at this point. And let's go down the line, please.
I am an electric vehicle owner, own one, and I can take it on long trips. And I recognize that there are some real shortcomings in the parking network right now. So at this point in time, I feel like roll out, it does need to be pump the brakes a little bit. If we can't take like a car from, and sorry. Anyway, let me continue. Shortly, I think that the school bus electric, we can add them slowly, but I think the conversion needs to be slowed down just because there are inadequacies in the network. As for the switching over from natural gas to electric, so I actually don't have natural gas on my road, and actually a lot of the people in my area don't have it, so I've been cooking with electric and all that. I think it's fine. But I do believe also that there is some element of freedom, and if people do have access to natural gas and can hook up their appliances, they should be able to do that, and also that should be looked at as well.
I don't know about the natural gas question, but I did hear a very interesting presentation at the Averill Park School Board once, not that long ago, where the bus manager talked about the real challenges to running an electric bus around the territories that we have here through the hills and the like. So my general response, what I would start would be that we need to take care of our environment. We talked here today about how we love, one of the assets of Poestenkill is, the natural resource that we have here, and we have to invest money in taking care of that. I do think that in terms of the electric buses, I think these things are more appropriate for urban areas, not so appropriate for rural areas like ours. I don't know if the facts bear that out, but that seems to me to be sort of a logical position to have in this kind of controversy, because our environment is not going to take care of itself. We have to take some action to do that. So there's my response.
Regarding the rollout of electric vehicles of all sorts, it's all a matter of balance. It's all a matter of figuring out what we can afford versus what we want. And that's the balancing act that we have to do. I don't think anybody is by nature against electric vehicles. I think it's just a matter of what it's going to cost. And that's what we have to take a look at. Certainly, I think probably rather than mandating a cutoff date by which something has to be done black and white, it's probably wiser that we find out what it would cost to roll this out, and then make an informed decision about how much we're going to do and how long it's going to take.
I prefer gas. Personally, I like cooking with gas. I like driving gasoline-powered vehicles. I drive a 2003 Mazda Miata. Very much like it. Teslas, not so much. In terms of mandating it, I think it's important to have choice in this country. You should have the choice between gas or electric, but pro gas.
I haven't actually seen the mandates, so it's kind of I have a hard time offering an opinion on it outside of that. I certainly care about the environment and want to protect the environment, but I think that these things should happen organically. I agree with, I mean, obviously on the town board, we can't do anything about school buses. I would be concerned if we had to convert, DJs, all the DJs equipment to electric. I mean, that would be a problem. So I guess my thought is here, things should happen organically. If these products are available, the market will decide whether or not people want them. I mean, I put in a propane fireplace 2 years ago, and I think we took a little flack for that, but it heats up the house nice. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Greg. I'll sit on this one if you don't mind. I'm a firm believer in the market, and at the same time, environment is changing. We have a situation changing. We have to address it. Practicality of some of the points that you brought up, school buses, et cetera, especially in the hilly terrain that we have or deep north, they're working, it might be very questionable. I'm not going to say any more because I'm not going to stick my nose in a place where it doesn't belong. Thank you.
Well, Westchester County will not be complying with that mandate on my watch. None of our fleet will be converted to electric. This is the grid cannot handle it. The grid's nowhere near ready. The grid is decades behind where it should be. A friend of mine, Gavin Donahue, who runs Independent Power Producers of New York. Yes, Gavin, where we are, we're decades behind where we should be. What did happen though last year in Buffalo is 45 people died in a blizzard because the grid went down. Also interesting that the governor in this summer installed a propane gas generator at her own home. A little bit of hypocrisy there as she tries to jam electricity down our throats. The market's not ready. The people don't want it. You're going to bring the housing industry to a stall, if not complete stop. Another friend of mine, Bob Marini, who builds lots of houses around this area, is setting up shop in Tennessee, largely because of this electric mandate. He has never in his entire career had a single customer say, Bob, can you build me an all-electric house? It doesn't work. It won't work. And electricity doesn't just appear. I know that's a shock to a lot of downstate New York City liberals, but electricity does not just appear. It is created through coal and gas and oil and all of the above and nuclear. If we really want to be green, we should be really talking more about small nuclear plants all around the country, which can be done safely as they do in France. So I think probably everybody, I can't speak for everybody down the line here, but I think we'll all be pretty much in agreement that we're nowhere near ready for this. And I think it's reckless and dangerous. And if you have some kids stuck up on the plateau on a cold February afternoon while that bus went down, because energy battery performance drops considerably in severe cold weather, and we live in a harsh climate.
I would agree with that. I would also agree with what Steve was saying earlier, that it's another New York State unfunded mandate that they pass on to the school, which then passes it on to the taxpayers. It's not fully funded. It is going to be a requirement to have a fully service fleet at 2035. She's backpedaling a little bit because the grid's not ready, just like he said. There's so many issues. The buses are heavier. The charging turnaround times, our routes are extremely long. I actually just left a meeting right before this one, executive meeting that had some other issues. So there's just a lot of issues around transportation, and bottom line is we are not ready for a fully funded or unfunded electric fleet. And even if they did fund it, the grid's not ready. It can't handle it. The bridges can't handle it. The fire department, our poor fire department, like what happens? We keep adding these chemical fires to these people that are volunteering, risking their lives on the line just to what? What is it in the end? We're putting dollars in someone else's pocket. Like, if the people don't want it, listen to the people. I'm all about freedom and choice, and that is what it should be.
The one thing I'll say is that the weight is a big issue. The electric buses are 18 to 20 ton coming in without students on them or drivers, and your school buses now are 10. So there's a big difference in weight that you have twice a day for morning routes, twice a day for afternoon routes on your small town roads. We see it now with the bigger garbage trucks that you get nose to tail with a recycle and then a garbage truck. it destroys these small roads down to the village. So that'd be my one concern is the weight.
This isn't really an issue that comes up to the town board, but I will say that when we bought our house in 1991, the first thing I did was rip out the electric heat and put in an oil-fired boiler and an oil fire, and off of the boiler is our water heater, and it saved me literally thousands and thousands of dollars a year in cost. And since then, electricity has gotten dramatically more expensive, but recently oil has actually started to come down. There's also been changes in the formulation of heating oil and diesel fuel and gasoline, plus the improvements in the internal combustion engines in all those vehicles, so that the amount of pollution that comes out of these vehicles is dramatically less than it was back in the old days. Somebody wants to buy an electric car, that's their free choice. I don't want to, but they can go ahead. Thank you.
I think it's safe to say that most everybody here is in agreement to the fact that this is just way too much, way too soon on a grid that is so not going to handle it. Gas is a choice. Electricity is a choice. Everybody should have a choice, but it doesn't mean it gets jammed down your throat. I've already seen my power bill over the summer damn near triple. I certainly don't want it to quadruple on top of that. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm good right where I'm at, and I'll fight it as long as I can.
The grid can't handle it right now. As far as Governor Hochul goes, all this really is, it's not a proposal from her. It's a press release that she's turned into a mandate. That's unsustainable.
I think that anybody that goes up on the mountain and tries to tell somebody up there that they need to put certain kind of heat in their house is in for a hell of a fight. I don't think government has a place to tell people how they should build their house and what they should do to their house. And I think they should keep their nose out of those kind of things. The grid can't handle it. I will never own an electric vehicle. So that's the way I feel about it.
That's because you drive fancy Mustangs. I have a lot to say about this, and I'll be brief. So electric school buses to me is a really bad idea. I find it ironic that one of our candidates up here, however, though, says we should pump the brakes on it, when every town board meeting, when we're buying a new vehicle, she grills our highway department, our police chief about buying new trucks and plow trucks, police cars. Why aren't we looking at electric? So I just think it's ironic that all of a sudden while we're here, we need to pump the brakes. These will create environmental issues. And to your question earlier on, as legislators, believe it or not, the legislature oversees the sewer plant. So if your toilets don't flush, don't call Steve, call us, because that's where that responsibility sits. And Bob Lover just sitting in the front with me, he's a great partner to work on that. I'm endorsed by the New York State League of Conservation Voters. I'm one of 37 in the state that have received that endorsement. We just recently received, I think it's a $10 million grant to invest in the sewer plant for a new aeration project. Again, these are all dealing with things that are biosolids and things that you probably don't care about. We have bugs that we eat the waste in the sewer plant. And these are all environmental issues that we have to deal with. But I think the biggest environmental issue that I found it out that nobody is talking about is the water in Poestenkill. And that when we were campaigning the last time, the town asked us to provide $600,000 to help putting that sewer line in. And the water line, and we came through with that process. We campaigned on it. We got that money for the town, and yet here we are today, 2 years later, that work still hasn't been done. And to me, that's a real environmental issue for all of you in this room. Thank you.
Response down here. You have the mic.
Anyway, the Assembly of Councilwoman Hoffman refer to me. I am that town board member. The reason I bring it up at town board meetings when we're purchasing new vehicles is because, frankly, there's a lot of state money that the town of North Greenbush could be getting in credits when we buy new vehicles. And I see, why not go for it? Why not try to get that state money? The other thing is that we have a charging station at Town Hall, although it hasn't been operational a while. So we could keep the vehicles there, charge them overnight, people can get in them and drive off. Maybe not a dump truck, that's tough, but definitely like the vehicles that our building inspectors use. In fact, even the county, I see Hudson Valley Security has purchased Mach-E's because I saw a crash on my way to Starbucks this morning and there was a Mach-E there. So public safety at Hudson Valley is using Mach-E's because they have probably gotten state money to buy these vehicles and are protecting the taxpayers. And I say, if someone's going to give you free money, why not take it?
All right. So if you have 30 seconds or less, please.
What made Ms. Hoffman, yes, we most appreciate this 200,000 pound beef. We get Burge Engineering, and they have done work. The invoices were close to 300,000, and those invoices were brought down to the county for proof of work being done right up to current. Thank you.
So I know it's really hard to not applaud when someone says something that touches you. And what's even more obvious is I have very limited control over that. But I'd ask that we please limit the applause if possible. I have a question now for Tiffany and Stephen. In order for new buildings to be constructed, does the county require sustainable practices to be followed? I would especially like to see large warehouses be required to have solar panels on their roof. Your thoughts, please.
No, we do not. I'm a capitalist. You let the market speak. If they want to put solar panels on, that's their right. If they don't want to, that's also their right. We don't do zoning, which I don't think a lot of people know. The county is not responsible for zoning. That is a town and city issue. So we really have no input on that. Would I encourage it? Sure. If they want to do it, that's fine. And if they don't, that's fine too, because I, as I said before, am a capitalist and believe in the market economy. And so a sustainability plan, again, the market speaks, and we've done very well protecting our environment here in Rensselaer County and will continue to do so. But I do not believe in imposing upon the business community in a state that's already really tough to do business in.
So I'm just going to say that what they want.
Did everyone hear that?
No.
Use the mic perhaps, as difficult as they are.
I said that it would be a town issue and it would be up to the towns to decide on how they would want to proceed. They have the budgeting, they know what they need, they're fiscally responsible, they can figure out what way they want to go.
Okay, I have a question for the town supervisor candidate. I read in a recent mailing that town taxes may exceed the 2% tax. Is that true? And what's being done what can you do to avoid that?
A couple months ago, we did pass in the town board giving us the option to exceed the 2% tax cap. And the principal reason behind that was because of the possible influence of bringing the ambulance service on board full year in Poestenkill. So that is the reason why we went above the 2% on the tax cap. We went to exceed the 2% tax cap, but that was approved by the town board and put forward. We are going through the budget. We're trying to be very frugal in what is allocated in the budget and trying to find, being imaginative to find ways to reduce that. Everybody's working together on that, and we're trying to keep the tax down as best we can. But as I told people as I'm going around, we did bring in the ambulance, and the ambulance is going to cost $282,000 or $280,000 for 2026, which will have an impact. And that's what we have to work around. Thank you.
Well, first I would get the books reconciled. So we need to know what's in the accounts before we just keep raising taxes. We don't have an answer as to what our fund balance is, so the numbers really are unclear. I've been to the last few town meetings and it seems like it's a twilight zone. There's not a lot of answers going on. I would also think, in rebuttal to the ambulance, I think we do need to add a line item in the budget list for first responders all the way around. So, but first we got to reconcile the accounts.
Okay, we have time for 2 more questions and then closing statements from all of you. One question is for Rob and Bob. I personally like the idea of 2 people from Poestenkill on the county legislature. How can you work together to ensure that Poestenkill doesn't fall through the cracks?
I think probably my record is working for the town through the town board, through the planning board, and through the legislature for the past 30 years probably speaks for itself, being that I fought to keep taxes down. We've improved roads. We've done things. Even as a town board member, I worked with the highway department. I've worked with DJ when the floods were up on the mountain. I called him that night. He was up there working to see if there was anything the county could do for him. The next morning, I went and saw him on the job, asked him again if there's anything he needed from us. So I'm here for the people of Poestenkill. Tom Russell has called me a number of times to ask me questions, and I get right back to him or answer the phone immediately.
Well, the way you stop Poestenkill falling through the cracks is to actively pursue your county legislators to do things for you. Now, I can't enumerate anything like that has particularly happened here in Poestenkill. The $600,000 of ARPA money for the water system was one thing I've heard of. But we have a legislative process. We have 4 legislators that serve District 2. Only 3 of them are here tonight. But be that as it may, the way to advocate for Poestenkill is to go and approach your legislators and ask them to make proposals include proposals in the county budget that may do services for Poestenkill or other towns that need things. The list is probably endless. We've talked about environmental things. We've talked about transportation, but the device is there. We just need to, as citizens, approach the legislative representatives and ask them to respond.
Thank you. We're getting near the end. I'd like to give everyone 60 seconds for a closing comment. Same game. I'll hold up the 20-second time when it's 20 seconds to go. And I'm going to talk for another few seconds to give you all a chance to gather your thoughts. Okay, the other side can go first. Fair enough. I should have thought that. If you're ready, let's go. 60 seconds, please. Final comments to our audience.
Well, thank you again. It really is an honor for me to be able to serve the residents of East Greenbush, North Greenbush, and Poestenkill. I think we've proven our record here with the residents when you needed us. When we had the issues with PFOAs, we offered free testing to the residents here around the school. We provided the money that was asked of us. We campaigned on it. We promised we would do that, and we delivered. And again, to kind of what Steve has been talking about, almost 50% tax reduction. That doesn't happen overnight, and it happens when the legislature and Steve and his team are able to work together. I think the candidates that are sitting here tonight, I applaud everybody for running, but for me, for re-election, I think we have really proven results for all of you. We have an open door policy. I'll give anybody my cell phone number who wants to talk to me, wants to hear anything, ask any additional questions after that. But honestly, this is It's really a humbling position to have people elect you to represent them, and I hope I have your support in November. Thank you.
Like I said, I've had 30 years of providing service to the town through the planning board, town board, and the county legislature. And I have a proven record. And I have worked with the town on many projects, the water projects, the first water project that went through town. I was on the comprehensive plan when we originally did the first comprehensive plan. So I do what I need to do for the town, and what the town needs, they can call me anytime. I live right here in town, and I'm glad to answer anybody's calls or take anybody's calls.
Thank you again for coming out tonight. I think, although I'm not from the town, I think I've worked hard for Poestenkill over the years. I think we have a very good team here in Kelly Hoffman, Rob Bailey, Leon Fiacco, and myself. We're always available. We reach out and working closely with Steve and our county clerk, Frank Marola. I think we've accomplished a lot of good things for the town of Poestenkill, for District 2 in the legislature, and also for the county. A lot of it's been mentioned tonight: tax cuts, infrastructure. You're not going to get that in every single county in the state. I think Rensselaer County has been a leader throughout New York State in providing services, but also at the same time, not only keeping taxes flat, but reducing taxes. If you take a close look at your tax bill, setting aside reassessments, again, my town has reassessed properties so the taxes have gone up, but not due to the county. You look at school taxes, you look at library taxes. Those are the taxes that have increased to a large extent. So I would say, in closing, you've got a good team here right now. The 4 county legislators, the county executive, and the county clerk, Frank Marola. We humbly would ask for your continued support. Thank you.
And again, thank you all for coming out here this evening and listening to us and presenting your questions. It's very important that you get out and vote. I mean, that is the key to everything, is you have to get out and vote. I'm asking you to vote for me. My name is Rodney Rescott, running for Poestenkill Town Council. I think it's important that everyone here has a voice. I'm an open book. If you have questions for me, you're always welcome to come and ask. I'll be outside till you all leave. I'll be happy to give you my cell phone if you'd like. I can answer any questions that you have. I'm pretty much an open book. I'm new to this, but it doesn't mean that I don't have knowledge and I don't have the ability to be able to make good, reasonable decisions that represent you and the townspeople. So from the top of the mountain to down the road, I'm here to represent you. So if you have a question, come see me. Thank you.
I'd like to kind of answer a little bit about the question about tax increases. Back in the spring, I looked up to see what would happen if we had to raise the taxes more than 2% to pay for the new ambulance service that we're doing. And turns out, because I asked the town attorney at a town board meeting, will we all go to jail if we do this? And the answer was no. But we did have to have a resolution this summer that in case we do raise it beyond the 2%, we're not penalized by the state or held in any kind of issue with that. That doesn't mean that we're going to raise the taxes. And one of the things that we can do with our budget is use some of our unexpended balance to offset any kind of tax increase and pay for things that we have. Doesn't mean we're going to actually spend it, but we're going to put it in the budget. And the town board has been pressing the supervisor for accurate numbers on how much money exactly we have that we could put forward offsetting any potential tax increase. And so far we're getting closer, but we don't have the actual answer. I'm probably going to push at our next budget meetings for when we do talk about this, to put about $400,000 of our savings into our budget, which hopefully will prevent any tax increase at all, or if anything, less than 2%. And we'll still get our ambulance service. Thank you.
Just want to say thank you again for everybody coming out and for your support. I have an open door policy. My work phone is always on me. If you have any problems, questions, concerns, compliments, complaints, we take them all. So come find me, or I'll come find you. Just call me.
Thank you all for this evening, coming out, spending the time with us. A person can't choose where they are born, but they can choose where they call home. And my family chose Poestenkill as their home to raise our children who are over there right now, behaving for once. But we chose it because we love the rural identity that we have, and we will continue to fight to maintain that rural identity and ensure financial stability in the town. I appreciate your consideration, and thank you again for your time tonight.
Well, thank you everyone for being here, and thank you to the Businessmen's Association here in Poestenkill. I've been honored to serve for 8 years now as county executive. Last time I ran for re-election, we got 65% of the vote. We won every town in both cities. You don't do that without getting a lot of crossover votes from independents and Democrats, and that's a recognition of the job that we've done with my administration working with this legislature. I do want to point out, it was said that there's a lot of macho in Rensselaer County. Well, the fact is that a lot of my department heads and commissioners are ladies, as our chairwoman is of our county legislature. Some of them are here tonight. So we are well represented by ladies in my administration. Like I said, the majority of my department heads are women. 40, I'm sorry, is ladies a bad term now? Sorry. Good Lord, my God, unbelievable. So 330 miles of roads paved, four brand new senior centers, state of the art, best in the nation. You won't find any better than that. A brand new emergency services training center is built on my watch, $6.5 million. The best bond rating in county history. Taxes that are lower than they've ever been. And we did all of that, or most of that, through a worldwide pandemic while we were under attack by a corrupt attorney general. So there was no county executive, no county in this state or nation that protected their seniors more than me when we said no to Andrew Cuomo's evil order forcing them into nursing homes. So I'm proud of that. I'm most proud of that. We're going to continue this good work with your support. Thank you.
Good evening. Number one, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to come out tonight. It is truly an honor and a privilege to address all of you and to have you all here. Your participation is most important. It's a democratic country, and by you being here tonight, that's what you practice. My opening tonight, I was negligent in mentioning a few other people at Town Hall, which I think deserve recognition. Katie, Tracy, Stephanie, Planning Board, Zoning Board, and Mike, our IT guy. They all put a heck of an effort in, and I'm most appreciative of their efforts. But most of all, my key is service to the people and listening and being responsive. But again, I thank you for coming tonight, taking the time. Questions, please. We'll answer the best we can and how we can. And I am most appreciative of your consideration. A very good night to you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you to the Poestenkill Business Association for hosting this event, Jim for moderating, and you, the audience, for attending tonight. I'd also like to thank my fellow candidates for town board, Dave, Rodney, and Andrew, for being here tonight. I'm sure you're familiar with the motto of Gabriel Park School District, and that is every student every day. If elected, I promise that it will be every resident every day. It doesn't matter if you've been in this town for 70 years or 7 days, everyone will be treated equally before the town board. Every resident, every day. I believe my professional career, involvement with water issues, and being part of 2 comprehensive plans makes me uniquely qualified to be part of the town board, and also working in a bipartisan fashion in many of those endeavors. In closing, I ask for your consideration as early voting starts this Saturday. While knocking on doors around town, I've had the pleasure of traveling to the 4 corners of the town, a beautiful town. I've met a lot of people, some of whom are probably not going to vote for me, but that's okay, because we're not enemies. And I will just close with this quote, because we talk about civility. In spite of everything, I still believe people to be really good at heart. And that's not my quote, that came from Anne Frank in 1944. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here tonight. I'm running for town council because I believe Poestenkill can be even better than it is. We have strong bones, good people, a solid community, and real potential. What we need is leadership that builds on that foundation. Leadership that's transparent, accountable, and focused on making life better for everyone who lives here. I won't promise you easy answers, but I will promise you honest effort. I'll listen, I'll work hard, and I'll always remember that I work for you. Poestenkill deserves a town council that rises to meet this community's potential. That's what I'm here to do. If you believe in that vision, I hope you'll vote for me. Thank you.
The legislative candidates here are hopefully all working for all Rensselaer County residents. We represent the towns of Poestenkill, East Greenbush, and North Greenbush, but as legislators, we will be responsible to all the people in Rensselaer County. It's important that we dial back the rhetoric and the anger that we've even witnessed a little bit here tonight. There doesn't have to be good guys and bad guys. Representative government is all about representing you. That's our jobs. That's why we're doing this. I am retired. I have nothing else to do except to work for you. I've spent 44 years working and gladly sold my business a year and a half ago. And I look forward to representing each and every one of you, whether you be Republican, Democrat, or independent. Our job is to work for you and not to pick sides on every last issue. Thank you again to the Poestenkill Business Association for hosting this event, and especially all of you coming out on this nasty wet night. Thank you.
So I believe that this is the only forum in Rensselaer County where Democrats and Republicans line up and can be asked questions. I don't think there are any other places where that happens in the county. So that's a tribute to what we have going on here. And thank you, Mr. Moderator. You're a better man than I, Gungadin, as they say. So anyway, we want to protect our democracy, and that's what this is all about. And people do that in different ways. People are more aggressive. People are more passive. My comment about Donald Trump and what he's doing to our country did not get I didn't expect to get much applause here today, but I was able to say that. Few grumbles, I expect that, but I really believe that is a true issue we have to deal with, and we're going to have to find a way through it, and I think we will.
Well said. Again, I really love local government because I feel it's the best way to make change. And I feel as if it's time for change here in District 2 and in Rensselaer County. These topics were not really discussed tonight, but as I've knocked on hundreds of doors throughout the district, there is concerns about our EMS countywide. And that is something that I'm ready to jump in on. There's also concerns about a comprehensive response to extreme weather events, which we see, flooding, storms, etc. And I am ready to take on this role. Again, thanks to the PBA, thanks to Mr. Tusty, thanks to all of the folks, the candidates who all came out tonight, and thanks to all of you. I think one of the panelists said that ask people to vote. Local election participation in local elections is really low. So if you can all get out to vote, that is the best thing that you all can do. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to everyone coming out and welcoming us all. And I think the time for change is now. We've all agreed on this dais that the grid can't handle it. Well, it's time for change. It's time for innovation. It's time for new ideas. It's time for different people to take control and to put forward fresh ideas and new thoughts and to work together. I started this coming up here, introducing myself. We spoke about civility. There are many things that we did not speak about. We kind of let go of the issues, and that's unfortunate because I do think that Tom Russell and Craig have done a wonderful job with the EMS services, and they have proven that it can be done countywide. And if we have money for a $4 million pickleball court, then we certainly have money to invest in our seniors and anyone who needs help at 2:30 in the morning. So thank you again. I really appreciate it.
So
if I may, let me first apologize to those people whose questions I didn't read. But I was basically told if we don't get out of here by 8:30, they're shutting the door and we're sleeping here. And only 2 bathrooms. So I got us done on time. And now, time for an applause for all these candidates who came before time. And that's our evening.